Murrow News 8 starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jasmine Brown.
And I'm Carmen Ditto. We've had reports of an earthquake being felt across multiple states, epicentered out of Stanley, Idaho. Jasmine, you said you felt it there in Pullman?
I did. I actually felt one earlier this morning, and I was a little hesitant because, you don't think there's an earthquake. So we were on the Zoom meeting earlier with, our classmates, and everyone felt it on the Palouse. So it just makes me realize that there might have been two, but I definitely felt the first one this morning, Carmen.
Wow, very interesting to see as we're learning more there. We've got Asher LYNDE on weather today. Asher, do you have any updates on that for us?
Yeah, I do, Carmen. Thanks. So what we know so far at about 4:52 local time, a 6.5 earthquake struck just outside of Stanley, Idaho, and people have been feeling tremors all over the place, as north as British Columbia, as south as Boise, Idaho. People in Spokane and Pullman, like you just mentioned, have been reporting it. And as far east as Great Falls, Montana. That's where I'm at right now. Now, I didn't feel any tremors myself. My mom lives just around the corner, and she texted me about 40 minutes ago asking if I had felt anything. So we're all good over here, but just a heads up, if you do experience some tremors, as they could linger into this evening, just to take the proper precautions. And it's also worth noting that there was another smaller earthquake that struck in Montana earlier this afternoon at about 3:30 Mountain Time. That one was a 2.6 earthquake that struck just outside of Yellowstone Park. So those tremors could be going into this evening. So just keep an eye out for that. Now, if we go back to the state of Washington, we have some video coming out of the Tri-Cities of a tornado that struck in Richland earlier this afternoon. It didn't stay on the ground for long, but we've had some pretty weird weather. And speaking of weird weather, Pullman has had some pretty wild weather today. I'll have your forecast for Pullman coming up soon. But as far as earthquakes and that goes, that's all I've got for you. We'll be sure to keep you guys updated. Back to Carmen and Jasmine.
Thanks, Asher. According to the Pullman radio, a motorhome caught fire on the north end of COLFAX Monday afternoon. The fire started around 3:30 p.m. at the intersection of U.S. Highway 195 and State Route 26. Sources said COLFAX volunteer firefighters had the blaze under control in about 10 minutes.
WSU is implementing a pass-fail option for all students. We have Jane McDonald live in Puyallup with more information. Jane. Oh, Jane, I don't think we can hear you. Try that again.
Oops. Yes. Hello. So sorry about that, Carmen. But yes, a lot of students are a little confused about what it means to pass or to fail any course. So let's break it down a little bit. So this semester, any undergraduate WSU student can choose to have any course be graded on a pass-fail system. Meaning, if you earn a C or above, you'll get a P, a D, D+, or C- will get a PP. And finally, if you get an F, you will. So the big difference here is that if you get a P or a PP, it will not impact your GPA, but what it may impact are requirements for degrees. So for instance, if you need a course to be graded and decide to have it be pass-fail, you may be delaying your graduation. To know what courses those are, you'll need to reach out to your advisor. The deadline to request this change is June 1st, and priority registration for fall begins next week. So maybe a good idea to get on Blackboard, check those grades, and reach out to your advisor. Live from Puyallup, I'm Jane McDonald. Jasmine?
Wow, Jane, thanks for that information. That's really interesting. In other news, despite many closures around the Palouse area, the Idaho Fish and Game are scheduled to remain open while encouraging social distancing and travel guidelines in alliance with the governor's order. The game is encouraging visitors to use these guidelines of 6 feet apart from others while fishing access sites and boat ramps.
Pullman Radio announced that the Pullman City Council will meet online tonight to receive a coronavirus update. Director of Whitman County Public Health, Troy Henderson, is scheduled to speak at the online meeting. It starts at 7 p.m. and the link can be found on Pullman Radio website underneath the news section.
According to the Lewiston Tribune, a University of Idaho employee living in Nez Perce County has tested positive for the COVID-19. Idaho North Central District Public Health Office concluded that the person was not a health risk to the U of I or Moscow community because he hadn't been in town since March 11th.
28 spring breakers from Austin, Texas tested positive for the coronavirus after traveling to Mexico about a week and a half ago, according to KVUE in Austin. A total of 70 people were on the trip, and Austin Public Health says that dozens are still being tested for the virus. Looks like we are having a temperature drop in Pullman. We have more with Asher on the weather.
Thanks, Carmen. Like I said earlier today, the earthquake that struck not too long ago, and then this morning there was a little sun, and then some hail, and then some rain, and then even more hail, and even some. We got some footage of the snowfall earlier this afternoon. It's about gone by now, but there's about 1 to 3 inches on the ground, so just keep an eye out for that. Looking at today's forecast, it's kind of all over the place with the weather that Pullman was experiencing. High of 44, low of 38, but it felt a lot colder than that thanks to that 16-mile-an-hour wind they had. Should be warming up fairly soon, though, as you see that sunset time getting later and later. There's a large cold front over the Pacific Northwest right now, and it's all the way to Montana. I'm in Great Falls, and we've been getting snow for the past few hours now. There's about, I'd say an inch and a half on the ground right now, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. Now, if we take a look at the 5-day forecast, you'll see pretty similar numbers across the board for the week, with the worst weather coming in the next few days. Friday, it'll start to warm up a little and get sunnier, with the weekend peaking at about 48 degrees on Sunday with a chance of rain. So just keep an eye out for wet roads and slightly weather as the week moves on. And that's all I've got for weather, Carmen. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Asher. Now we have Lucy Fasano with some news on sports.
Thanks, Jasmine. 14 Washington State University student athletes were named to the 2020 Pac-12 Winter Academic Honor Roll. Student athletes include 2 from men's basketball, 4 from women's basketball, and 8 from women's swimming. Any student athlete with a cumulative GPA of 3.3 or above and who has served at least 1 year in residence at the institution is eligible to receive all academic honors. We are in the 3rd week of NFL free agency, and the Redskins picked up former Philadelphia Eagles. According to ESPN, Darby signed a 1-year deal worth $4 million. And we are still waiting to see who Cam Newton will sign with as free agency continues. The Seattle Seahawks have released veteran tight end Ed Dickson and are waiving safety Tedrick Thompson. Thompson was a 4th-round pick out of Colorado, and throughout his 3 years with the Seahawks, he started in 16 games, recorded 80 tackles, had 3 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, and 5 passes defended. Dickson, a 10-year NFL veteran, signed with the Seahawks in 2018 as a free agent, but injuries limited 2 years. ESPN tweeted today that they are bumping the release date of a long-awaited Michael Jordan documentary series to April 19th. A jump from the original June premiere that will cater to all the sports fans in quarantine right now. The 10-part series, titled The Last Dance, chronicles Jordan's last season with the Bulls. Back to you, Carmen.
Thanks, Lucy. After years of watching the show, one Coug is about to leave. This is a call for all Coug fans to tune into the Wheel of Fortune on April 7th to cheer on Keenan Suve. Keenan is a junior at WSU and is looking forward to watching the episode.
That is all from us today.
Since things have changed, you can now watch us live on YouTube every night at 5:30.
News content can still be found at nwpb.org/MN8, and don't forget to follow us on social media.
Have a good night, stay home, and stay healthy.
Bye.